Wizards Postgame Live.
Jordan Goodwin, 19 points off the bench, 4 for 4 from the charity stripe. He gave you 4 boards and 3 assists. Unfortunately, in a loss for the Wizards tonight. Final score 121-111. Wizards take a loss to the Indiana Pacers. Now that matchup set at 1-2. The Wizards will be seeing them again on February the 11th. Welcome to Postgame Live. Wes Hall here with Coach Jimmy Patsos. Coach, Porzingis gives you 29. Kuzma gives you 27. I mentioned Jordan Goodwin giving you 19 off the bench. Before we bring everybody else in, your thoughts on tonight's match?
You know, it's a good question because I coached college for a long time, and you had 2-game road trips in college. And what you do is you get on the plane, and you get in and you say, what went well this weekend? Like, now it was Wednesday, Friday, but, well, Goodwin's definitely moved up. Gafford's making progress. We're working on this, him playing with Porzingis, but when Gafford touches it, he's had blocks and dunks. I thought Denny got a lot better in this week, this 2-game road trip.
Yeah.
Denny's feisty and all that. We know. No, he's learning to be a skill player. He had a couple good looks that didn't go down, but Denny, Gafford, and Goodwin, arrows up big time. Those 2 arrows up. KP and Kuzma playing really well, maintained where they were at. Okay, we got to find a way to get Kispert going a little bit. But don't forget, I'm going to keep harping on this. You're lacking a little firepower. That's what Beal and Rui do.
Yeah.
And at the defensive position of the point guard, okay, DeLon Wright's coming back. Wright's close to coming back. We got our inside source. That would be Chris Miller. Now, Wright's coming. Wright's looking really good. And Rui on his ankle is working really good. Beal, we know, is one more game, but find a way to win tomorrow. But what do we do well on that road trip? We established that Goodwin isn't some fluke. Like, he's now getting scouted, and he's playing well.
Thank you.
Gafford, we know, can play. We're just now trying to fit him in the puzzle a little different. And I think Denny's getting better by the game. His confidence is growing. And Monte Morris was out, and he came back and played well both games. This is a team, the Wizards, they had the lead.
Yeah.
After being down 9-0. Going into the fourth, that was anybody's game.
It was.
The Bulls, that's a rebound away. You're right there. You got to stay positive. You got to figure out what's going good. And then we got to have a couple more guys. We hope Will Barton can come back.
Yeah.
The KG vet, Will Barton, can come back. So I wrote down, here's what we did good on the road trip. Here's a couple things we got to work on. Now we got 2 games to do it, both at home.
Coach, you mentioned Jordan Goodwin. I want to go back to his line.
I love that guy. He's a tough guy.
34 minutes, and we know that with the diminished roster, his usage was going to go up. 19 points. 4 rebounds, but there was a level of intensity and energy tonight, Coach, that I saw out of Jordan Goodwin. No matter what was going on the court, he always seems to make the right plays at the right time, including knocking down 2 of those threes down the stretch, trying to help his team climb back into this.
Look, why are you good at your job, Wes? Seriously, because you have great passion and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You do. You bring enthusiasm. You're professional, but you bring enthusiasm and passion, and that's... Look, he's the point guard. He's like the host. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
You have to lead us all to where we can be successful. But your energy, I get fired up when I see you.
Thank you, Coach.
I do. I think the team likes playing with Jordan Goodwin. I caught the bench. Look at him there. He's fired up there. He's going under the screen. He's battling there. He's on the ground. He also stole the ball from Neesmith and got a breakaway foul.
I absolutely love it. This guy plays hungry, and that's what you want to see, right?
And that's coming from your quarterback position in football. It's the quarterback. In basketball, it's the point guard.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's a big check plus on this road trip. And when Beal and Rui come back, well, now we just need Barton back. Now we just got to find a way. I just think Goodwin gives him a little something. I like that the other players are like playing with him.
It's a respect thing. When you see a guy down in the trenches working real hard with you along your side, he stays hungry, he stays fired up, never lets the moment get too big for him. I love Jordan Goodwin. I want to bring in Chris and Christy real quick to keep this conversation going because, again, this is night 1 of a back-to-back tomorrow night in D.C. against the Clippers. Looking at tonight's game, guys, I almost want to just say snap my finger and move on because I want to find something positive that we can bring in tomorrow and get back in the win column. Christy.
Well, I love the fact that Washington had 52 paint points. I thought that was tremendous. But on the other side, they held Indiana to only 40, but also one of the higher-paced offensive teams, Indiana. Washington had a 16-11 advantage in fast break points. So I thought their intentionality on the offensive end was very tough today. Jordan Goodwin, it goes without saying that his energy, effort, and focus was a game changer for Washington in terms of the depth that they can provide tomorrow on a back-to-back.
You know, I said Porzingis and Kuz, you know what you're going to get with them. I thought they were terrific tonight. I'm going to give Rick Carlisle some credit. There was a second-half adjustment that was made to say, listen, as soon as they catch it, we've got to double them and make somebody else beat us. I give Jordan Goodwin credit. He was that third option that we were looking for. I also want to give Corey Kispert some credit. Attacking the basket, not just shooting threes.
Right.
But tonight, the Wizards went on that 6-minute field goal drought, and I thought that's where the Pacers were able to extend their lead here. But look, you got 9 players dressed. Okay,
Yep.
Wes Unseld Jr. has to be judicious with the minutes because, again, you're playing tomorrow night. As he told me before the game, nobody's feeling sorry for the Washington Wizards. Rick Carlisle over there just dealt with the West Coast trip where the Pacers didn't play well. But what I did see in terms of positives, Christy talked about the fast break points. Wizards actually won that one. Wizards dominated points in the paint, 52-40. So there are some signs here. There's some slippage, though, in terms of you can't have 6 minutes where you don't get field goals. But this team competed again for 48 like they did Wednesday night in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Guys, when we look at Kristaps Porzingis' performance again, you know about the 29 points, almost another rebound, setting him aside for another double-double. But when you think about the way that he scored as a Wizard, the guy has always scored in double figures as a Wizard. The last time he was scoring single digits was actually back in January 29th when he was with the Mavericks playing against, wait for it, against the Pacers. Has he become Mr. Consistent for this team, Kristen?
I think you have to say yes to that. I mean, he was 11 of 13 from the floor. He had 9 boards. But I also think the way that he got his scoring, it wasn't just one way. Yes, he was in the paint a lot. He knocked in a 3. But I think the balance of his offensive prowess, he can score on all 3 levels. And I thought he did that tremendously well tonight, Chris. But the consistency of Kristaps Porzingis, now 42 consecutive games where he has scored in double figures for the Wizards, dating back to last season. I mean, it just shows that his hard work is paying off.
Okay, I want to ask Chris Miller something here. Hey,
yeah, Jimmy.
No, you've been around the block, and I mean that's dead seriously. This team feels like it's just like a win away from turning the momentum. In other words, all these games are close. Like you've been on planes, and you've had a lot more experience than all 3 of us combined in the NBA. You've seen this where things are going good, you're not getting your result, but you just need a quick twitch, which means a win. Tell us your thoughts on that.
It's so funny you said that, Jimmy. What were you and I talking about before the game?
Exactly what we were talking about.
We were talking about they just need one. I've been covered this league a long time, and I've seen teams struggle, and when they're going through losing streaks, and you go back and look at it, most teams in the NBA don't get blown out, guys. That's just the reality. There are a lot of runs in the league, but then when you look at how you lose games, it comes down to like the small details. Offensive rebounds in Chicago, not making free throws. The little things matter. And I think Taj Gibson said it best to me last night. By the way, the Off the Bench podcast will be with Taj Gibson this week.
Well played.
Shameless plug. But he's a veteran in this league, and he said all it's going to take really is for us to get that one win. And hopefully that can springboard them. Now, here's what I do know historically about the Washington Wizards. For some reason, Christy, on the second night of back-to-backs, they play well. I would not be surprised tomorrow if they find the energy and the chutzpah to come out and compete against the Clippers.
Well, this is such a grind, right? I mean, we're not even running and playing, and it's a grind to be on the road and to get your body right, get shots up, get your mind right to compete. But I think, like Jimmy Patsos just said, I think this was a good trip for Washington. They have really learned more about themselves. They've learned about their depth. Right? We've seen Jordan Goodwin had a career night on both sides of the court. So there are some good things that have come out of this that they can continue to grow from, especially on a back-to-back night with the Clippers coming in to D.C. tomorrow. I think that they've done their due diligence with that, but they also know that they're without 4 real key contributors to this team. And hopefully, obviously, Bradley Beal, the 3-time All-Star, hopefully he's going to be back and ready to go soon.
By the way, some of Jimmy's relatives have just made their way throughout Gainbridge Fieldhouse here. Want some FaceTime. I wonder where they got that from.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris and Chris, we appreciate it. The next stop for you guys.
St. Elmo's.
Next stop for these two back in D.C. So we appreciate it. Safe travels until you return back to tomorrow night. Again, the Clippers in D.C. tomorrow. Chris and Chrissy, thank you very much. Coach Patsos, I want to keep this conversation going because you and I were talking off camera about the little things, but we called them something different. We called them paper cuts. Paper cuts are annoying. They get on your nerves. I get it all the time.
Free throws.
Right. So what were the paper cuts? And more importantly, how do you fix them?
Well, it's just when you lose them by just a couple, when you're playing so hard. Remember, I did both Miami games with Wes, and then I'm watching games closely at home. Watch every game, but you're talking about the Miami games that they were in both games and could have won with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed that free throw. Kispert had a breakaway layup and missed a free throw. You know, Goodwin got fouled. They got fouled on the breakaway rule, the transition rule, and we missed the free throw. You can't miss that free throw. In other words, you have to just do all those little things while you're trying to get over the hump. Then once you're over the hump, those little things seem to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
It's just that you're so close right now. But you got to stay. And like I said, Denny's feistiness and how hard he's playing, I really like that. Kispert, as Chris says, is driving the ball. He's not just relying on threes. Now, next thing is to finish. But, like, you just got to say, these little things we're doing well.
Right.
And we're not losing by a lot. Like, our effort's really there. Our enthusiasm's there. And KP and Kuzma are playing at a super high level.
Absolutely.
They didn't drop down. They had a good road trip. You just had 2 tough losses. Hey, the Bulls were coming off of it. They got it. The playoff run is there. There's 12 teams going for 10 spots.
That's right.
We're one of them. Well, you're playing the Pacers. They want them. They know. They watch the standings, too. And for the next month, that standings, I got a lot of people in the NBA, that standings is so close. We go on a 3 or 4 game winning streak, we're back in 5th place.
That's what it's all about. Coach Patzo's giving us the breakdown. Well, from one coach to the next, how about head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium from Indy?
Well, they got in the bonus early, just being able to defend without fouling. I think they got to the line, and then the offensive rebounding, particularly in the second half. You know, I think only three in the first half, but 10 in the second half really put us, you know, give them life, give them second possessions. It just, you know, it takes a lot of starch out of you. You guard pretty well for, you know, 20-plus seconds, and then we don't secure a rebound. It's tough.
You see some of the turnovers there in the fourth quarter and some of those stretches that they extended.
Some of them were careless, unforced. You know, I don't think anyone's trying to turn the ball over. It's just trying to make a play and, you know, just a bit of miscommunication.
They were pretty hot tonight from behind the arc. Is that just team hot, or would you guys like to close out a little bit harder? Or?
Well, some of that. I know it's tough, you know, at times playing 2 bigs and, you know, you cross-match. Getting out to, you know, potential shooters. Some of it's just off the bounce, you know, one-on-one, step-back threes. Those are tough to guard. But, yeah, I mean, 18 threes that's tough to overcome.
I know Hewitt obviously got loose in that, but what did you see from the defense on Albert and Mather?
I thought the effort was great. You know, I thought our overall effort tonight in general was good. It's, you know, it's part of it is just being able to compete at a high level and trying to sustain that as long as possible. I'm sure guys got a little fatigued, but you know it's not an excuse. We have to find a way to gut those minutes out and close it.
How happy are you with the way your team found a mismatch for Kristaps? Particularly with bad, at least 4 or 5 times where he posted up field and he.
Well, that was his original matchup, and we started, you know, to exploit that a bit, and then they changed coverages. The second half started double, and you know, take the ball out of his hands a bit. But yeah, I think, you know, we're going to play through him. You know, Kuz got going early, so it kept us afloat. And I thought KP was great, just the balance of his pick and rolls, his post-ups, you know, playing through him in the post as a facilitator. So, you know, we're going to continue to play through him and him and Kuz and play off those guys.
What worked well for Goodwin tonight?
Just his effort, his energy. You know, he turned those deflections into turnovers. You know, I think his aggressive nature helped us. Made some shots, obviously. Big plays to the rim, made 2 threes. So I think he lets his defense translate to easy offense for him. Good. All right. Thank you.
Head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium. Megan McPeak, thanks for joining us here on PostGame Live. I'm going to ask you about Jordan Goodwin. The 19 points off the bench tonight. We know that the bench was short-handed. All 4 guys all happen to be named G with their last names. But 19 out of the 26 points coming from Jordan Goodwin. What grade do you give him off the bench tonight?
I would give him a solid A. I think he was fantastic on both ends of the floor, as Christy and Chris both pointed out, not only throughout the game, but as well, too, they pointed out in the post game with you just in that last segment before you went to Coach's press game. And I think what he was able to do is exactly what Coach Unseld said. He brings this type of energy that seems to be infectious throughout the entire team, and I don't know if it's something that he can, you know, share with the other guys and get it to be, you know, 1 through 15 type of thing, or at least for right now a 1 through 9 type of thing. But whatever he continues to do, I'm happy with what he's been doing, because he brings something that is needed, and it seems that Coach Wes Unseld wants to go to him when he needs that spark of energy or that dog mentality, and Jordan continues to rise to the occasion and continues to be ready when his number is called, and it's been impressive.
It has indeed. Megan McPeak, do not move. Don't go far, because we're going to keep this conversation going. Since I got Coach here as well, I'm going to ask him about how to coach dealing with the shorthanded roster, something that a lot of people have trouble dealing with. I'm excited to see what you come up with, but I'm also excited to see more out of Jordan Goodwin. I love the intensity, love the energy. That's what we want more of. Post-game live back here in a moment. Welcome back to Wizards Post-Game Live. The final score from Indy was 121-111, but tomorrow in D.C. for the Clippers game, first 10,000 fans show up and get a signature hat giveaway, with Kyle Kuzma being the designer. This is a beautiful hat right there. Reminds me of the old retros. And speaking of, it's part of our 25-year celebration of Wizards basketball here in the nation's capital. So first 10K in, get this lovely little piece of hat. I'm going to keep this one to myself. But Coach Patsos, Megan as well. Before we went to break, I talked to you about coaching being shorthanded. How does that affect your rotations, whether it be depth, whether it be lineups, when you know that you're shorthanded off the bench?
Well, Megan and I know this. We both played. You know, when you're in college, like, there's only so many guys. Now, high school, you can pull up your JV guys. Now, the pros, yeah, you have a G League, but you only have so many guys on a road trip. Who's going to take the opportunity we're giving you and show me you can play? In my mind, and I know you're going to go with this, Megan, because you're around Jordan Goodwin from day one. In my mind, Megan, he has graduated from the two-way G League thing, we're not sure, to he's here. Like, he's here. Is someone else going to make it? I want to see if Kispert can become a real starter. Will Johnny Davis be pulled up? I like Isaiah. We know Will Barton's a real player. He just couldn't play tonight. But I want to hear from Megan, like, do you think, in my mind, Jordan Goodwin, that's over. He's passed his test. He's graduated to the NBA.
Yeah, I think right now, there's no question they're going to have to keep him up on that two-way contract, given the fact that they only have 9 available players. Could we potentially see a Will Barton tomorrow? Hopefully his foot is feeling better. We will have to wait and see, because that's something that you don't want to have, you know, linger around long term. But I think for right now, you're correct, Coach Patsos, that you're going to see Jordan Goodwin with this squad for a long period of time, especially when you think of the fact not only do they have the Clippers tomorrow night, you also have the Nets coming in next week, and then you hit the road for your longest road trip of the year on the West Coast. And things don't get easier when you think of the fact that you've got both LA teams, you've got Denver, Utah, and as well too the surprise team in the league right now, which is the Sacramento Kings, who have been playing very well and probably want to light up that beam after they play the Wizards heading into the Christmas break. But when you think of what Jordan's been able to do, like I said in the last segment, he has been ready when his number is called. And if you're Coach Wes Unseld Jr., that is all you can ask of him, is to be ready when I call your number. Same with Daniel Gafford. When he's been able to get into the game, he's been ready to go. And I think that right now, when you think of the fact that you've only got 9 guys, Jordan Goodwin is going to see heavy minutes and see a lot of time. And the sky's the limit for him. At this point, he controls his own destiny with the Washington Wizards organization.
Indeed, he does. Now, that's looking at the quote-unquote lower part of the roster. I'm going to slide our focus to the top of it, looking at Kuz and KP tonight. 56 combined points, 5 for 11 from deep for the 2 of them. At this point, knowing that the way that we are right now, Coach, can I squeeze
you always have. No, I want to talk to those two, because I don't want to mess them up one bit, because they're fine.
Yeah, they're good. I know, they're perfect.
Like, Kuz is playing so hard on both ends. And I like that Porzingis. He's really exploiting his matchups. Now, Denny, Monte, and Kispert, you may have to bring them in and say, we love what you're doing and we appreciate it, but we need a couple wins. You guys might have to do a little more. You might have to get a rebound. You might have to take a charge. You may have to do, like, Denny's really feisty. I like that, but maybe Denny pass up a 3, take a shot fake too. But those two, I mean, Kuzma and Porzingis, I mean, they're just playing at such a high level. I'm not even worried about them.
No. Megan, same thought.
The other thing, the one thing I want to give Kyle Kuzma credit for, especially tonight on the defensive end, he took the assignment of Miles Turner when they only had Miles Turner on the floor. When they had both Nesmith and Turner on the floor, he went on Nesmith, Kristaps went on Turner. But when it was one-on-one coverage and it was just Miles Turner on the floor, Kyle Kuzma, the reason he looked exhausted tonight, not only because he played heavy minutes and was doing it on both ends of the floor, he took the assignment in Miles Turner. And Miles Turner, when you look at the stat sheet, like, he did not have a Miles Turner type of game. 14 points. And the only reason he had, you know, the last 6 of those 14 was because it came off of offensive rebounds, and it was that one slam dunk that he had. But for the most part, Kyle Kuzma defending Miles Turner kept him in check, and I have to give him credit for that because that is not an easy task.
Indeed it is. Megan McPeak, we appreciate you as always. Safe travels back to D.C. We'll see you tomorrow for Wizards Pregame Live, getting everybody ready for the Clippers game. So thank you, as we always appreciate it. Coach, I want to ask you about another person on this team. Over the last 4 games, he's averaging 12 points, 6 boards, 3 blocks. I think you know who I'm talking about. Daniel Gafford.
Me and you are obviously in this fan club, and it's easy to see, you know, the coaching staff, there's only been, you know, there's more than 50 games left. So we're just trying to figure out where we want to go, and we want to make our playoff run. You know, the goal is to make the playoffs. 7 through 10 is the play-in, 1 through 6 you're automatic. 10 teams make the playoffs. Okay, we're right there. Got to keep that in the. Is Gafford going to be part of this equation to make it? I believe so. A, rim runs. B, he dunks it. Most importantly, he blocks shots.
Yes, he does.
And he's a big body that can, like, he can play in the post. You know, Porzingis is a little thin. That's why he's a unicorn. But he can play lots of positions. Gafford's a true center. What I like about him is didn't pout, didn't say anything when his number wasn't called. You know, going into the season, there's always a plan. We all have a plan going into the season. And then all of a sudden one guy gets hurt or he plays better. But Gafford, he's waited his turn and then he's produced.
Coach, one of my old coaches always said, your #1 plan needs to be plan to adjust your plan.
100%.
Kristaps Porzingis right now in the post-game locker room.
Good question. It's you know, coach is emphasizing, you know, it's about the small details, you know, some execution in that Chicago game. Tonight, kind of, you know, we had 6-minute stretch with no field goals. You know, just the small stretches of the game or small details of the game that we can get better at. And it comes with experience, you know. We have to bite down and take the positive out of these, like, tough losses that we are going through right now. So that's got to be our mindset, you know. It's not easy to win in this league, and you know, we're seeing that right now. So we got to bite down and figure it out.
Aside from just pushing through and showing a little bit more effort, what are the things that you guys have to do on the court to make up for the fact that you're as shorthanded as you are?
Our intensity has to be. I think it's a pretty good at a pretty good level. Our intensity, our energy, our you know, togetherness as a group. I think we're doing those things. We're just, you know, falling a bit short, and you know, some of that is just sometimes, you know, the other team is just better, you know, and that's what it is, you know. And we have to. Some nights are your nights, and you can beat the best team in the league, and some nights you know, cannot get out over that hump, you know. And as I said, we're a little bit in that spot right now, but sooner or later, if we just keep grinding, keep biting down, and it will turn in our favor, and you know, those close losses can turn into wins.
Tomorrow night, what do you guys have to do to right the ship in the cellar?
It's going to be tough. Paul George, Kawhi, experienced team. It's going to be tough, but it's a great opportunity for us. And yeah, get as much rest as we can and back at it tomorrow.
You've been in this league long enough. Is this just sometimes, you know, teams have to, especially a team, you know, you guys are still haven't been, if this isn't a group that's been together for, you know, 4 seasons or anything like that, is this just the growing pains sometimes that teams have to kind of go through in this league?
Yeah, of course, and also moments like this when you're missing so many important guys, you know, it's a big part of our team, you know. You want to, you know, say it or not, but it's the reality. We're missing some people, but you know, we have what we have, and we have to go out there and try to give everything we have with this group, and also look at it, you know, the guys that are getting more playing time, look at it as a great opportunity to show yourself, you know, and to give everything for the team. So yeah, it's some tough times, but it's, you know, wouldn't be the good times wouldn't be so good if it wasn't for the bad times.
Kristaps Porzingis with 29 points, 9 boards, almost had another double-double on the season. Did his job tonight, but somebody I wish we could have had on the court tonight was Will Barton, who, against the team that we're going to play tomorrow, we got some numbers for you. Chasing stats coming up in a moment. Welcome back to Wizards Post-Game Live. Coach Fatso's with me as we take a look back at our bold predictions from earlier tonight, brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Tonight's prediction, Monte Morris at the tally a season high of 13 more assists tonight. The crew, not me, wrong. Okay, again, brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Well, I'll tell you something else that would make me feel better. Seeing Will Barton on the court tonight. Missed him, but when he is able to return, the contribution that he brings, something you're going to have to enjoy by the numbers. Here's Chase Hughes with the latest installation of Chasing Stats.
Wes Unseld Jr. is looking for the key to unlocking Will Barton. Barton has been a really good NBA player for a long time, but has not been playing up to his usual standards. And getting him going could be a way to improve the Wizards' struggling bench. Their regular starting lineup of Morris, Beal, Avdija, Kuzma, and Porzingis has a plus 13 net rating that is 6th best among all 5-man lineups in the NBA this season with at least 100 minutes played. But the Wizards bench has a negative net rating that is 6th worst in the NBA. Barton could help change that in a big way if he just plays to his career norms. Barton has seen his scoring average cut in half from last season, and he's shooting a career low percentage from the field. So what's changed? Well, he is in a different role now coming off the bench after starting in Denver. He's also taken on more playmaking responsibilities due to DeLon Wright's injury, and he doesn't have Nikola Jokic, the best passing big man in NBA history, setting him up. Let's be honest, that probably helped him. But the numbers also tell a story. Barton is not getting to the rim as often as he usually does, as he's taken just 14% of his field goal attempts within 3 feet of the rim. That's about half his career average. Barton's average field goal attempt is 17.7 feet away from the basket, the furthest distance of his career. So finding ways to get him closer to the rim could be beneficial. Where Barton has been very good is shooting from the corners. While he's shooting his lowest three-point percentage in 8 years, he's knocking down over 40% on corner threes this season. Maybe it's just a matter of Barton needing more time to adjust to a new place. But if the Wizards can get him going, he could prove to be a valuable untapped resource.
Well, just Chase Hughes with the latest installation of Chasing Stats on Will Barton. Coach, now I get to put you on the spot as a coach. If you could, help me out. How do you get Will Barton activated if he's available?
First of all, I love Chase because he really does his homework. He's really thorough in what he does. And he's right. They brought Will Barton here, and it was part of a different plan. Well, that was when Beal was healthy. Okay, that's when he was coming off the bench with DeLon Wright. He was a pure point who can play deep. His roles changed. He's getting used to coming off the bench because he did that early in his career, but then he started for 4 years in a row. Maybe start him.
I like that.
If Beal's not going to start, then I might start. I'd say Will Barton. If Beal doesn't start play, you're going to start because obviously if Beal plays. Now, you don't want to move him to the 3 because Denny's going good defensively, and you got to develop these young guys. Like, that's all part of the process. It's not an easy situation, but Will Barton's figuring his role out, and then all of a sudden Beal's out. But I may start him tomorrow night. And remember, he's played against the West for 4 years, so maybe even going out West. We need Beal back. And he doesn't have Rui around him, by the way, who's an instant offense guy off the bench. But I think Will Barton, I might say, hey, why don't you start tomorrow night just to try something different to get him going.
The familiarity with the Western Conference teams is always an added addition. Coach, I appreciate that. A little insight on Will Barton. Right now, though, I want to take a look at our FanDuel big hits from earlier tonight. Remember, FanDuel, you can make every moment more. Earlier in this night, you could have gone for Jordan Goodwin with 3 or more assists, and that's at plus 130. A $10 bet would have won you $13. Denny Avdija scoring 12.5 or more points is plus 106. A $10 bet would have won you $10.60. So, Coach, with that in mind, looking at Denny Avdija's last 4 games, 8 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. He's heading in the right direction again, Coach.
This is what you hear when you go to the NBA Combine. when you go to Summer League and you talk to the guy on the Wizards that's the most intriguing is Denny Avdia, because, like I said, when he puts it all together and he's getting closer, he's a young guy. You know, he's really young. Didn't play 4 years in college or anything like that. And he's adjusting to a different style. Now he's starting. He's answered every bell. He's probably ahead of schedule. It's just that you need him so bad with Beal and Rui out to do more. But I think he's doing really well. I think he's answered the bell. I think he's getting better. I think he's going to be better in February and March this year. But give him another year. You give Denny Avdia another year. That's what the guys on. It's not. I always talk to Tommy Shepard or Wes Unseld Jr. or Chris Miller. I'm talking about other guys around the league. They covet him. They're like, oh, he's really good. He's going to be really good.
Now, Denny is remarkably tall. For those who haven't had the chance to see him in person, Denny Avdia is not like a little pesky, like 6'4", 5". No, he's like a strong 6'7", moving towards 6'9". That's a big young dude. And
big dude.
Love his energy. Love his energy. Coach, thank you so much. And again, FanDuel now live in Maryland. You can get $200 in free bets guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, you can download the FanDuel app and start making every moment more.
NBC Sports Washington, your home of the Wizards.
Coach, I love when you're here because we get to go in the film room. Let's talk a little Gaffer. What do you say?
Look, this is the first thing you're going to notice about this film. You're always looking for what don't you have on your team. You know, you got a really balanced team. You got a little bit of vets and everything. He's an athletic guy. Like, he gets a rebound with 4 guys around him. Yeah. He gets a rebound and just goes up and dunks it. And it's like, look out. Oh, that's a jump hook there. He's going to get a dunk on an offensive rebound coming up. That's in traffic, offensive rebound. That's what we need, okay? Because Porzingis, while he's really good at 7'3", he struggles with 4 guys around him. Gafford's strong enough. Here we go. This is as good a block as I've seen this year in the NBA. You're talking about, he tried to tomahawk this on him. He met him up there, didn't foul, block. So that's another shot blocker we have, because you got Porzingis who can block it in. Here, this is where Goodwin just takes the jumper. He follows it up, catches it off the rim, and turns midair and dunks it. That's just, those are 3 things if I'm Wes Unseld Jr. And I know, he knows, in our small sample size of 25 games right here, we're starting to add what we want. I want that guy because he can block shots, he dunks rebounds, he's a little bit bigger guy, but he's a little bit of what we don't really have right now. So I want to keep adding that to the recipe.
Coach, Gafford over the last 4 games averaging 12 points, 6 boards, and 3 blocks after spending a nice chunk of the season in single-digit scoring. My question to you is, when it comes to him dominating inside, what do you think was that switch that got activated to get Daniel Gafford back?
And I'm not joking. I think it was minutes. I mean, all of a sudden he got a little more minutes. You need can't just turn it on, especially inside. Because inside, you're not going to get the ball sometimes. Right. It's a more perimeter look. It's a perimeter game right now, so it's going to take you a while to get going inside. But as Christie pointed out and Chris Miller, the paint points are really good with the Wizards, so he's part of that production. I just think he accepted his role, and now the team's changing a little bit, and you're figuring out that Porzingis can look. Had to slide Porzingis over slowly to the 5. He's really handled that well. Yeah. I also said this before. Porzingis has played in every game except 1. That is not a norm for his career, knock on wood. It's fantastic. That hurt Gafford because, you probably thought he was going to miss some games. But now he didn't miss games, so we got to figure out how to play them together.
Well, here's another, and speaking of pairing, I like the energy of Gafford and Goodwin.
Oh, both tough guys.
Come on, Coach. Like, that's the energy that they both bring, especially coming off the bench. That's what you want.
Absolutely, and I think that's why I said there was a lot of good things on this road trip. You went 0-2, but you found a lot of good things. It was those 2.
Coach Patsos with the insider breakdown. Coach, coming up here in a second, we're going to be hearing from this guy, Kyle Kuzma. Of course, he always makes, player arrivals a thing. It's been a thing. It's a good thing. We'll talk about it on the other side of PostGame Live. All right, Wizards fans, tomorrow, back in those classic edition jerseys, it is Wizards-Clippers. Pregame live starts at 6:30 p.m. We will be live at Capital One Arena for the entire day's festivities, so make sure you are there. But as far as tonight's game, Kyle Kuzma at the postgame podium.
I just came in this game, and I know a lot of times, teams are expecting me to just drive to the rim because I've been pretty good at it this year, but just trying to give teams a different look and, understand I may not be shooting the best, but you still got to guard me out there because I'm liable to, hit threes too. So.
throughout, even these last couple games, effort is there, but, keep coming up a little bit short. What are the small details that y'all got to clean up to kind of get over that hump?
Just the small details, offensive rebounding. Every game is different. It was offensive rebounding, then it was kind of, in the Bulls game, it was miscommunications with, pick and roll coverages, a couple stretches with DeMar and Caruso down there. It's little things that you can teach and you can fix. So at the end of the day, I'd rather live with those for right now. Not saying it's an excuse, because we're all professionals and we should understand and know what we need to do out there, but it's much better and it's easier to work with instead of like not playing with effort. So.
All right, Coach, that's Kyle in the postgame locker room right there. Clippers in town tomorrow. Paul George and crew. How do the Wizards jump back out of the losing column into the win column?
I think what Kyle said is true. You're professionals. You know what we have to do, but the effort and energy's there. I'll be watching at home. By the way, Sunday, NBC, 4 o'clock, I got Towson Navy.
Look at you,
on this station.
He's everywhere. Coach Patsos making it happen. Wizards fans, on behalf of our great crew and staff here at NBC Sports Washington, for Coach Patsos, Megan McPhee, Chris and Christy, I'm Wes Hall. Enjoy your Friday night. We'll see you tomorrow for Wizards Clippers on NBC Sports Washington.